Hello, welcome to Romero Threads on YouTube, where it's all about embroidery. In today's video, I am going to go over my 3-year Ricoma MT-1501 review. Actually, it's about 3.5 years old, okay? That's this guy right here. I want to give you my experience, my likes, my dislikes, and some of the most common questions that I get regarding my machine and just Ricoma in general. And as a side note, I've paid for all my machines, okay, full price, no hookups, no anything. I am not being compensated for this review, okay? I'm not getting any kickbacks or anything for that. I don't have any special links. You can go directly to Ricoma. All right, let's go ahead. Let's start with the review. The number one question, right, that I've gotten since day one, still to this day, is probably the number one question that I get is, what are my thoughts on the Ricoma MT-1501, and do I recommend a Ricoma embroidery machine? Now, anytime I'm asked that question, it's kind of hard to answer it right away because I don't really know how committed you are. Okay, I don't know how committed you are. I don't know how serious you are. The last thing I want to do is recommend something pretty expensive and you're not really prepared on what to expect. Because embroidery, okay, believe it or not, embroidery, when you are starting, when you are beginning, it is very complicated. It is very hard to understand embroidery all on day one. And what happens is someone might buy an embroidery machine and they think that on day one, they're ready to go. They're ready to open up shop and they're ready to take orders, okay? Which that's really not the case, okay? I'm gonna tell you that it takes about 3 to 6 months to kind of learn the basics of embroidery, all right? At the very minimum, it's gonna take you about that long just to learn how to run and operate your embroidery machine in different type of situations. Now, in theory, can you start your business on day one? Yes, you could, okay? But stuff happens. Stuff breaks, thread breaks, needle breaks, all sorts of equipment error happens, okay? You got to know what to do in those type of situations, all right? That's why the learning curve, okay? The learning curve in embroidery, it's pretty steep. Even the most seasoned embroiderers, okay, you're always learning. I'm still learning. I'm learning something every day, every week. So before even going through this review, I just wanted for you to be aware, okay? If you are interested in embroidery, just kind of expect to do some heavy lifting, especially in the beginning of your embroidery journey. Let's go ahead. Let's start with the review. So here to my left, I have my 3-year-old Ricoma machine. Actually, it's more like 3.5-year-old Ricoma machine. And really, you can't really even tell which is the 3-year-old one and which is the almost 1-year-old one. Okay, they're well taken care of. Okay, we take care of them very good. My wife, she oils them, cleans out lint, pretty much maintains them every day. It's like brand new. Okay, it still looks brand new. Okay, there's no corrosion, no any crazy thing that you might see on something that's not being well taken care of. Very sturdy, heavy. Okay, so you want something that's very strong, something that's very solid, because what happens is you get a lot of shake. Okay, embroidery machines, they like to vibrate. All right, so you need something that's gonna hold on tight. Okay, so it's pretty heavy. Okay, equipment is very heavy, has a nice stand, and the bottom, it just has a good grip to the floor. All right, so it's very solid, has a very good center of gravity, so we really don't get too much shake. All strong metal. All right, strong metal. Quality wise, craftsmanship, okay, very strong, very solid. Now, of course, one of the most important questions on an embroidery machine is, can I get professional results? And like I've always said on my previous reviews, with my Ricoma 1501, I can easily go toe-to-toe with any embroidery shop or that's out in the mall. Okay, anything that you see out there, anything that's coming out of any embroidery shop, we can easily go toe-to-toe. All right, so quality-wise, no problem. All right, really, I would say, really quality-wise, okay, I would base that more on your design, right? Your digitizing, okay? Because the embroidery machine, this is just across the board, right? Most embroidery machine, they're gonna do what you tell it to do. If you have garbage designs, you're gonna get a garbage product. Of course, your equipment plays a big role, but as long as you have everything dialed in, your settings, your tension, your bobbin, your thread, your hooping, as long as all that, the fundamentals of embroidery is good, you are going to get professional results, all right? So here, all right, quality control, I am all about quality control, and we get excellent professional stitch outs here with the Ricoma MT-1501. So in that department, we are good to go. Okay, so now let's talk about what probably is the most important question. One of the most important questions that I get is, can I make money with the Ricoma MT-1501? Now, one thing, like I kind of said it in the beginning, is if you are starting a business, an embroidery machine business, okay, you got to learn not only the science of embroidery and the art of embroidery, but now you got to learn the business side of embroidery, okay? So that's more learning curve that you got to learn, okay? There's a lot of stuff that you got to worry about. Inventory, taxes, advertisement, okay? There is a lot to learn on that side, okay? So you're adding all this information that you got to learn, okay? Because I've seen some real good embroiderers, but they have a problem turning that beautiful art into a business. So the business side, that's a whole different beast, right? That's a whole different conversation right there. Business wise, right? Can you run a business with the MT-1501? Definitely. So hats, okay, polo shirts, beanies. All right, so anything flat, MT-1501, that's easy day. Okay, that's easy day. That's pretty much all embroidery machines, really flat garments, okay, all day. Okay, but what I like the 1501 for hats, easy day with hats. Once I learned how to hoop, the rules on digitizing hats and how to hoop hats, the stitching is pretty much straightforward. Okay, so hat wise, starting a business, especially if you want to start a hat business, you want to create your own hats. All right, MT-1501, easy day. All right, so those there, right? Quality, can I make a business? Okay, those are like the big easy questions right there. All right, so really, you could start a business. You could get professional quality with the embroidery machine. All right, but let's talk about some of the dislikes. Okay, so those are some of my likes. Very easy to use, very easy to understand. Okay, so I did mention that embroidery is hard, but once you climb that initial steep mountain, okay, once you conquer that first mountain, it becomes easier. Okay, stuff starts moving faster. All right, once you start learning it's just simple rules of embroidery. But sometimes what happens is people want to skip certain steps, and there is no skipping steps. Okay, everything has to be done correctly, or else the final product, all right, goes down the drain. Okay, but let's do transition to the dislikes. Okay, just with any product, right? With any product, you always wish there was always little certain things that can be different. All right, it's no difference with an embroidery machine. All right, so for dislikes, I did have to reach kind of deep. Okay, I really had to think hard about this one because it's hard to find something that I dislike. All right, but to give you a full real review, okay, I did dig deep and I did find some little dislikes that I have. And really my dislike, okay, I would say this is not only exclusive for the Ricoma MT-1501, okay? This is just probably in embroidery in general, okay? This probably could go with every other embroidery machine, all right? So I'm including it in the dislike because this is something that you might see. Even though I have no issues embroidering on hats, the stock hoops that come with the machine, I'm not a big fan of the hoops that come with the machine. The hoops, they are functional, okay? Some people love them. But for some of the designs that we had, some of them that are very detailed, especially with the unstructured hats, such as the dad hats, with our hat hoops and our regular hoops, okay? I'm not a big fan of the hoops. And this is just embroidery in general, right? Because all of the hoops, they're pretty much the same. It don't matter which company you go with, okay? The standard hoops that come with the machine, if you're kind of like in the same situation, you're going to have to buy different hoops. We have the Gen 2, okay? Gen 2, it just holds the hats, okay? Keeps our hats nice and tight. I never have any registration problem, okay? Now, that's my own personal dislike, okay? Some people love the hoops that come with it. They're experts with those hoops. That's all good, right? I just like that easy hooping, right? For example, Mighty Hoops, right? Mighty Hoops makes life a whole lot easier. So if you are struggling, let's say you are struggling, maybe it's just the hooping, right? Hooping should be the quickest, the fastest part, all right? So as a dislike, I would say I'm not a big fan of the hoops, but that's an easy fix because I've bought hoops that make life a whole lot easier, right? So easy fix right there. It could be an expensive fix, but it's still something you kind of got to think about. And that's just all in embroidery in general, right? Because standard hoops are standard hoops all across the board. And another dislike that I have, and this may be in embroidery in general too, okay? Just because an equipment says they could run at this speed doesn't necessarily mean you're going to run it at that speed. All right, so it's usually a selling point when somebody tells you that you could run your speed, you can run your machine at this speed. But really, okay, really, if you run it at that speed, you might encounter some issues, all right? It's the same thing like when you buy a car, right? If you buy a car, since I've bought my car, I don't think I've ever ran it to the highest speed possible, okay? Just because it goes to that speed doesn't mean you're going to run it at that speed. Also, there are certain stitches, all right? Let's say you're doing sand stitches and you're doing a 6mm stitch, all right? Whatever you dial it up, the machine's gonna slow it down a bit. Okay, it's going to kind of protect itself and say, hey, I'm not going to run that fast. I'm going to slow it down a tad bit. Okay, there are other machines that will run. I've seen shops, okay, with the more upscale type machines. If you tell it to run at 1200, they're going to run it at 1200 long sand stitches, okay? Ricoma, it's going to kind of bring it down a bit. It's going to tell you, hey, slow down a bit, okay? That's being done automatically. And even when you're doing hats, okay, we do a lot of hats, so it's common practice to slow down your machine if you're running hats, 3D puff, or you're doing small little details, okay? By default, you want to go down a bit. But I've seen other machines, they've gone top speed no matter what. So as a dislike, okay, even though I never run my machine top speed, okay, as a dislike, I would say you will not run your machine at the highest speed that's being advertised. Okay, so kind of put that on the back of your mind. When you start making calculations on how long a certain design is going to take, be careful on using your stitches per minute formula, okay? Because sometimes that formula is not going to work on you. All right, just as a general rule, really, our machines, when I run it, I like to keep it at, I don't like going above 750. Sometimes there are some specific 3D puff detailed designs where I bring it real low, okay? So there's gonna be times you're gonna have to bring it low. There's gonna be times where you're gonna have to bring it real low, okay? Especially if you're getting certain thread breaks in specific locations, you're gonna have to bring it down a tad bit. And really, it's more like be cautious, and you are not going to run your machine at a 1200 stitches per minute as advertised, all right? So dislikes, okay, those are kind of like my two dislikes, okay, which is kind of just embroidery in general, right? This is not really machine specific, okay? This is more like embroidery in general, okay? It's not a dislike, it's more of a be aware type stuff. One thing that I like about Ricoma, they do have a Ricoma group where you could, if you have any type of issues, you could go to that group and go into the search button and you can find anything under the sun. Any issue under the sun, you could find that problem. You can see how people resolve that problem. So just quick and easy, if you want to learn about a certain topic, you could just search on that topic and see real world situations and how they handled it. Okay, another big feature about Ricoma, which I think is probably like the best thing about Ricoma, is it's very easy to buy a machine from Ricoma, okay? Especially finance, okay? Payments, let's say you're going to go through a payment system. Payments are very low, and you'll be surprised how fast you can pay off a machine. Okay, in the long run, let's say you get into the business, right? You get into the business of embroidery. When you're looking at the long run, this initial payment, all right, it's just a small fraction of the whole total cost. All right, you'll be surprised how fast you can pay off a machine. Even though when you're starting, you're thinking, wow, 15, 20 grand, it seems like a lot of money. Okay, once you are deep into embroidery, you're going to see how fast it is to pay off a machine. And even though the payments are low, you're going to find yourself dropping more than what the minimum payment is. Okay, that's since day one. Okay, since day one, I was all about, hey, let's pay this machine ASAP, as soon as we can. And you're gonna be surprised how much money you're generating and how much money you're paying off this machine. Okay, so one of the best things, easy, right? Easy to buy it, easy to buy the machine, easy to finance. They tell you right there and then on the spot, hey, you're good to go. All right, where I would say with other companies, all right, you got to go through a lot of hoops. You got to answer all these specific questions, and I'm going to call you back and this and that. Okay, Ricoma makes it very easy. All right, that's one thing. Okay, so if you are doing your research and you're ready to buy or something, okay, when you call them up, they're ready to go. Just one main point that I do want to get across when I'm doing my review here. Okay, machine, great. Okay, embroidery machine, great results, great everything. Just know what you're getting yourself into. This equipment, it's pretty big, pretty heavy, pretty sturdy. Just make sure you have the space in your house to run an embroidery business. We started in our living room / kitchen. All right, it's not feasible to run an embroidery machine, right, using your kitchen table as your working table. Okay, everybody starts there, but just know eventually you're going to have to upgrade real quick, okay? Because you are going to see if you are committed, if you are ready to go and you are going all out, all right? You are going to see how fast you are going to grow. And the reason why is because when you buy garments, they come in boxes, all right? Big old boxes, and they take up space, all right? So kind of know what you're getting yourself into, okay? Buying the machine, that's the easy part, okay? The hard part is maintaining the business routine and creating a system where garments come in, garments come out, garments come in, garments come out. All right. You don't want to be in a situation where you're buying garments and you're just stacking up boxes in your house. All right. Because boxes, they stack up real quick. And next thing you know, you don't even know what you have in your house. So in this review, right, my 3-year review, okay, machine, excellent, easy to work with, easy to buy. You can get the training. You can learn the equipment if you put in those hours. Ricoma is going to teach you how to use the equipment, okay? But nobody can teach you how to run your business. You can get some advice on overall ideas, all right, some tips and tricks, but really, okay, just maintaining. And it's something that nobody really talks a lot about, right, is the business side of embroidery. And it's something that I kind of want to focus a little bit more in, okay? I do want to talk about just our experience, what we see, okay? Because here, even though it looks nice and clean back here, okay, just know here on the side, I just have boxes and boxes stacked up right here, which is the ugly side of embroidery, is inventory, keeping stock, buying stock. Whole different conversation, right? Whole different conversation, but something definitely that we got to talk about, all right? Definitely, this is a topic that I will continue to talk about, okay? If you have any questions, any comments, you want to add any information, if you have any likes or you have any dislikes, please leave it down in the comments, all right? That way we can all learn from each other, all right? Because maybe you have a different experience than me, or maybe you have something similar, all right? So let's kind of put all that information down below so anybody that's doing research, okay, could read along, they could follow along, and they can ask any of their questions. All right, so I want to thank you for stopping by today, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.